Okay. So what you have again on the layers panel is just the piece brought in and then the graphic over the top. And when you take a look at how some of this is placed together, just kind of unlock this layer just to use it as a demonstration. These are just four rectangles that are just evenly placed apart. This has a section that's just a building connected looking item that has this section hollowed out, and then the type, when you take a look down here at the text, it's just Helvetic irregular with a little bit of the tracking set off, and the type can be set to centered or justified. So it's relatively an easy process, but here's the background with a new layer above it. So we'll just drag that layer here and just call this graphic demo. And just kind of go with the easiest part first, taking the rectangle tool, and I can reset the foreground to background and take the fill off so you can see this. So this rectangular shape is highlighted there. Give it an outline again just to back this up. And you could easily just duplicate it, but I'm just going to take one just to show the measurement with the Option and the Shift key. So I have two pieces selected. Select both of them with the marquee selection, just or Shift key to select the both. And like I said, you can duplicate it or just go to Object, Blend, and Make. And what happens is it'll make a series inside depending on what the last default was. And when you go into Blend, you can release Blend Options, and you have all these other options. But Blend Options will come up, and I'll hit Preview. And right now it's listed as Smooth Color or Specified Steps and Distance. So if I put it down, it has 4 inside of this. So I'm just going to decrease it and place it in 2. So it's placing 2 pieces inside of there, all of it equal distances from the top to bottom, and it does the math inside to put the number numerically evenly spaced. And then when it's a light blue, just eyedrop the color and you have that section. It's very similar to this side. On the left, do the next one, a little more difficult. The smart guides are highlighted, so this will give me the shape of this rectangle. I'll reset the foreground, background. And if I just had a point in the middle, I could drag that up. It's just a handle, so I'm going to go to the pen tool, put Add Anchor Point, and again, this is intersecting, clicks right onto it. Take the Direct Selection tool. It's already highlighted, but just to draw a box around it, and just use the arrow key to drop it right up there. And now I have the same function on the other side as this rectangle space here. Now whether or not I duplicate it or take the same rectangle, I'm just going to overlap it a little bit. Take the selection tool, Options, duplicate it, set it across. And same idea, I could have just placed it in there, but I'm just going to use the math to make sure it's evenly spaced. The blend, go to Object, Blend Options, and again just hit Preview, click on Specified Steps, and decrease it down to just 1 and click OK. So now I have these two shapes that are one on top of the other, and then you have a couple options up here. Let's see. So I'll give this just a different fill color so you can see this part. So you have this 2 pieces, the shapes over the top. Okay. And this one just going to go to Object and expand, Fill Stroke and Object, click OK. And then just select all of these with the Pathfinder options. Here you have Outline minus Back, minus Front, and that just clips that piece out, so now you have that image. So it's relatively easy. The next one is just the text, so just all caps. That highlights it. And just taking the part with the character. Just type in the font. If you just type in Helvetica, it'll come out bold. And if you have the paragraph listed here, this one is just justified all lines, so it forces the image to go to the outside. Here is the leading, which is the space between the font. If this needs to be a little bit smaller, you can adjust that as well. And the tracking horizontal scale is made a little bit smaller, and the tracking puts some of the type in between it. And eyedrop just to get the blue. Okay. Now once you have this, that's the first one. Just take a rectangle selection, draw a shape around it. Shift X if you want to switch it to the line. This is just the stroke. Okay. And again, here's the items. I'm going to shift these two pieces together and group them. Select the text and align those with the center and group that. And then just select this outside edge. So it's three pieces that are grouped together to make this. And now you have an image that we can also animate, which we'll take into a separate piece there. So that gives you the first section there. Okay. Now the second one, a little trickier, but I can keep it on the same layers. I'll go back to the layers. This is the CIA one, and this one's going to have just a little bit more of a pen tool approach to it, and also a font that you can attribute to it. So for example, these are all shapes and lines. When you take it across, it's just shapes on top of it. Double clicking on this will give you the individual pieces that you can see in isolation mode. And then this is a letter that we're going to take across and use. So this font, we'll just copy that to show you this part and paste it on here. So this is a point where you can take a letter and Shift X to just outline the font and bring it up close a little bit. So you could take this character, place it down there. It's pretty close to it. Cropping off parts of this or adding points to it to make it a little bit more selective. Under the type, you would go into Create Outlines. The selection tool you have, but right beneath it, you also have this Lasso tool selection and also the anchor point. So when you take a look, and the direct selection, so when you take a look at this, you can place some of this up. You can actually take Delete Anchor Point tool to take some of these out. Cap locks will give you the anchor point itself. So it builds that part up. Coming down to this one. And using the letter A. Now when you select this, you have the options up at the top to change this to a corner or a curved point. And that allows you to adjust this a little bit using the arrow keys as well. So it gives you that part. And then just taking a little bit of time and taking the interior of this character. Gives you that point up there. So it's just a quick arrangement using some of the points. The handles come out so you can curve these corners and retract the handle. You can also take out a point. It won't put a gap in the line, but it does give you that fill part of it. And that's just made up pretty easily. The second one, with the pen tool, you can see it's slightly askew. Clicking for the corner, Shift key to keep it straight, Option to curve that. And the Same with this. The smart guides are giving you the right height indication. Now come back to fix that one, but let the computer assist you. Use the letter A. Select these pieces to get the corner widgets and curve that a little bit. So I have this selection, swap this color, and this has a group that together. Take the box selection, Shift X, and use the eyedrop tool, and Command Shift with the bracket to place it behind it. So it gives you a little bit of addition to it. Select the both of them, the one the logo is grouped, and here's the two center lines, and then grouping that together. And that'll give you this section for that.